notebook was already open when I walked into the kitchen. That alone was strange. We were a household of closed things, closed doors, closed laptops, closed conversations. Nothing lay open unless someone meant it to be seen. The notebook sat in the exact center of the table, not crooked, not careless, placed. It was an ordinary school notebook, thin, with a blue cover. The kind you buy in bulk because children tear through them without thinking. On the cover, written in precise block letters, was a title, Daily Evaluation. Below it, smaller, Parents. I stood there longer than I should have, coffee machine hissing behind me, the refrigerator humming like it was trying to warn me. I told myself it was nothing, a school assignment, a joke. I opened the first page. Dates ran down the left side. Today's date was at the top. 2 columns followed. Mother, father. Under each column was a number written in red pen. 5, 4. My stomach tightened in a way I did not understand yet. Anna? I called. My wife entered the kitchen, tying her robe, hair still messy from sleep. She looked at me, then at the notebook. What's that? I think our son made a report card for us. She leaned over my shoulder and laughed. Oh my God, that's adorable. Is it? Of course it is. She poured herself coffee. Kids copy everything we do. We're always grading him. Homework, behavior, chores. She bent closer to the page. Hey, she said, smiling. I got a 5. What did you do wrong? Apparently, I'm a disappointment, I said, half joking. At that moment, Sasha walked into the kitchen. He did not look sleepy. He did not rub his eyes or yawn like usual. He stood straight, hands folded in front of him, watching us look at the notebook. You were not supposed to read it before breakfast, he said calmly. Anna blinked. What? It's better if the evaluation is discussed after. I crouched slightly to meet his eye level. Buddy, what is this? He tilted his head, considering his words carefully, like a teacher addressing a slow student. It's the scoring system, he said. I decided to be fair. Anna laughed again, louder this time. A scoring system? Yes, every day. For what? I asked. For how you behave, Sasha said. There was no playfulness in his voice, no grin, no attempt to impress us, just fact. Anna waved her hand dismissively. Okay, Professor, why did I get a 5? You listened to me yesterday, Sasha said. You did not interrupt, and you asked how my day was. Anna's smile faltered just a little. And Dad? She asked. Sasha looked at me. You were on your phone when I talked. I opened my mouth to protest, then closed it again. Fair enough, I said. He nodded once. Evaluations are done every evening, he added, so today's score may change. Does it matter? Anna asked gently. Sasha looked at her for a long time. Yes. For the first few days, it was cute. Annoying, sure, but cute. Every evening after dinner, Sasha sat at the table with the notebook and his red pen. He asked questions like an interviewer conducting a serious performance review. Dad, did you promise something today? I said we'd play after dinner. And did we? No. He wrote something down. Mom, did you raise your voice today? No. Did you sigh loudly? Anna hesitated. Once. He nodded and made a small note. He never smiled while doing it. That should have bothered us more. At first the scores stayed high. 4s, 5s, occasional 3 when one of us snapped or forgot something. We joked about it, teased each other. Careful, Anna would say. You're losing points. But something subtle shifted. I started noticing the way Sasha watched us. Not like a child seeking approval, but like a supervisor tracking compliance. He noticed things we did not. How long we took to respond when he spoke. The tone of our voices. whether our apologies sounded real. Once, when Anna hugged him quickly while rushing to answer a phone call, he gently stepped back. "That does not count," he said. "Count for what?" she asked. "For affection." Anna froze. "I was affectionate," she said. He shook his head. "You were in a hurry." That evening, her score dropped to a 4. She laughed it off, but later that night, I heard her crying quietly in the bathroom. 3. The first 3 was mine. It happened after a long day at work. Deadlines, traffic, a meeting that went nowhere. When I got home, my head was buzzing and my patience was gone. Sasha ran up to me holding a drawing. "Look what I made." "Later," I said without looking. "I need a minute." He did not argue. He just stood there, holding the paper. Later never came. That night, he did not ask many questions. He wrote silently for a long time. Then he turned the notebook toward me. "Father, 3. Why?" I asked, irritation creeping into my voice. "You dismissed me," he said, "and you did not apologize." I said, "Later." "That's not an apology." Anna stepped in. "Sasha, this is getting a bit much." He looked at her calmly. "You always say actions have consequences." She opened her mouth, then closed it again. That was the first time I noticed something else in the notebook. Beneath the scores, in faint pencil, were notes. Repeated behavior. Pattern forming. Correction required. 4. The punishment for a 3 was subtle. Nothing dramatic. No rules announced. But that night, Sasha refused to say goodnight to me. "I do not feel safe emotionally," he said. I laughed, a short, sharp sound. "You do not feel what?" "You ignored me," he repeated. "That makes me feel unimportant." Anna shot me a warning look. "Just apologize," she whispered. I did. I said the words, but Sasha studied my face closely. "That did not sound sincere," he said, and he turned away. Something cold settled in my chest. 5. The first 2 came a week later. It was raining, hard, the kind of rain that turns the city gray and loud. I got home late again. Sasha was already in his pajamas, sitting at the table with the notebook closed in front of him. He did not look up when I entered. "Hey," I said, "what's going on?" "Evaluation," he said. "For today?" "Yes." Anna stood near the sink, tense, arms crossed. "What's wrong?" I asked. Sasha finally looked at me. "You broke a promise." "I did not promise anything." "You promised to come to my presentation." I remembered then. School. Parents invited. I'd forgotten completely. "I had work," I said. "That's not an excuse," he replied. "Of course it is." "No," he said quietly. "It's a choice." He wrote slowly, deliberately. "Father." Anna inhaled sharply. "Sasha," she said, "that's not fair." He looked at her. "You're interfering." She stared at him, stunned. "What does a 2 mean?" I asked, forcing a laugh. He hesitated, just for a moment. "A 2 means separation," he said. "From what?" "From comfort." That night, he pointed to the balcony. "You should sleep there," he said. "You need time to reflect." Anna laughed nervously. "Okay, that's enough." But Sasha did not smile, and for reasons I still do not fully understand, I picked up a blanket. "I'll do it," I said, "just for one night, just to show him it was a game." The balcony door closed behind me with a soft click that sounded final. Inside, I heard Sasha's voice. "Mom," he said, "you handled that well today." The first morning after my reflection, Sasha acted as if nothing unusual had happened. He sat at the table eating cereal, feet swinging slightly above the floor, humming to himself. Anna avoided my eyes while pouring coffee. "Dad," Sasha said without looking up. Did you sleep well? Fine, I lied. That's good, he said. Discomfort is only useful if it leads to insight. I stared at him. Anna dropped a spoon into the sink too loudly. Sasha, she said, forcing a laugh, where did you hear things like that? He shrugged. From you, from school, from everywhere. He finished his cereal and pushed the bowl aside. Today is a new day, he added. You can improve your score. That was the first time I realized the system was not symbolic anymore. It had continuity. We tried to take control. That afternoon, Anna suggested we talk about boundaries. We sat on the couch like we were preparing for an intervention. Sasha sat across from us in the armchair, notebook on his lap. This evaluation thing, Anna began carefully, was fun at first, but it's starting to feel stressful. Sasha nodded and wrote something down. Please do not write during this, I said. He paused, then closed the notebook. I'm listening. Anna took a breath. Parents do not get graded. We're a family, not a classroom. That's not accurate, Sasha said. Families have rules. We make the rules, I said. Sasha looked genuinely confused. Why? He asked. Because we're adults. He tilted his head. That does not automatically make you right. Anna leaned forward. Sasha, sometimes adults make mistakes, but children do not punish them. I'm not punishing, he said. I'm correcting. The word landed heavily between us. Where did you learn that word? I asked. From you, he said again. You always say mistakes need correction. I felt something slipping. Authority, maybe, or the illusion of it. We're stopping this, I said firmly. No more scores. Sasha looked down at the closed notebook. Then what happens to accountability? He asked quietly. We talk, Anna said, like this. And if talking does not change behavior, no one answered. That evening, the notebook reappeared on the table. Anna started changing first. She caught herself mid-sigh, mid-eye roll, mid-complaint. She asked Sasha about his day with careful enthusiasm. She listened without interrupting, nodding at the right moments, asking follow-up questions like she was afraid of missing something critical. Her scores went back up. 4s, 5s. Mine did not. I tried, but I was clumsy. My patience frayed. My tone betrayed me even when my words did not. One evening, after Sasha had given me another 3, I snapped. This is ridiculous, I said. You're a child. You do not get to judge us like this. Sasha did not react immediately. He finished writing, then looked up. Raising your voice, he said. Invalidating my feelings. That's not... And refusing responsibility, he added. He underlined something. Pattern escalating. That night, I slept on the balcony again. Only this time, the door was locked from the inside. The second night locked out, I did not knock. I sat on the cold floor wrapped in a blanket, staring at the city lights and wondering when I'd lost control of my own home. In the morning, Anna opened the door with red eyes. I tried to talk to him, she whispered. He said interference affects my score. What score? I asked bitterly. She did not answer. Sasha entered the kitchen moments later, calm as ever. Mom, he said, thank you for respecting the process. She flinched. I made breakfast, she said quickly. Your favorite. He smiled faintly. That was thoughtful. She exhaled in relief. I felt sick. The first one was Anna's. It happened on a Thursday. She had a bad day. A truly bad one. Her boss humiliated her in front of coworkers. Traffic was brutal. She came home exhausted, defeated. Sasha spilled juice on the carpet. It was not much, a splash, but Anna screamed. It was sharp and sudden and full of everything she'd been holding in. Are you kidding me? Can you do anything right? The words hung in the air like smoke. Sasha froze. Then he bent down silently and wiped the spill with his sleeve. I'll clean it, he said. That night he did not ask questions. He wrote for a long time. Mom, he said eventually, you received a 1 today. Anna went pale. A 1? She whispered. Sasha, please. You expressed hostility, he said, and made me feel unsafe. I stood up. That's enough. Sasha looked at me. Sit down, he said calmly. Something in his voice made me obey. What does a 1 mean? Anna asked, her voice trembling. Sasha closed the notebook. A 1 means removal, he said. Removal from what? She asked. From influence. She looked at me, eyes wide. I do not understand. You need to leave, Sasha said, until you're corrected. The room spun. This is insane, I said. She's not going anywhere. Sasha turned the notebook toward me. My name was already written. Father, 2, pending. Interference will lower your score, he said. Anna grabbed her coat with shaking hands. I'll go for a walk, she said quickly, just to cool off. Sasha watched silently as she packed a small bag. At the door, she hesitated. Please, she mouthed to me. I did nothing, and the door closed. 11. Days passed. Anna did not come back. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I considered calling the police, but every time I tried to explain the situation in my head, it sounded absurd. My son told my wife to leave. They would laugh. Or worse, they would look at me like I was the problem. Sasha remained calm, productive, cheerful even. He cooked simple meals. He cleaned. He did homework without being asked. You see, he said one evening, stability improves outcomes. Where is my wife? I asked. She's correcting herself, he said. How do you know? Because she has not returned, he replied. If she were ready, she would. That night, I searched his room. I do not know what I expected to find. Drugs, notes, some sign of manipulation. Instead, I found books, parenting guides, psychology textbooks, behavior modification manuals, all highlighted, all bookmarked, all things we had left lying around the house for years. And beneath his bed, another notebook. This one was thicker. Its title made my blood run cold. Long-term evaluations. The first page listed names. Some were crossed out. One was circled. Mine. I stopped breathing when I saw the circled name. Not because it was mine, but because beneath it, in smaller handwriting, was a date. Tomorrow. I did not sleep that night. I lay on the couch staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft, rhythmic sounds of Sasha moving around his room, pages turning, a pen tapping lightly, thoughtfully, against paper. At some point past midnight, I heard him get up and walk to the bathroom. He washed his hands carefully, humming the same tune he always did when he was concentrating. Then he returned to his room and closed the door. No lock. He never locked it. Around 3 in the morning, I finally stood up and walked to the balcony. The city looked the same as always. Cars passing, windows lit, lives continuing uninterrupted. Somewhere in that city was my wife. Or maybe she was not. Maybe correction meant something else entirely. I realized with a clarity that made my stomach twist that I had never once asked Sasha what correction actually involved. In the morning, he made eggs, perfectly cooked, seasoned lightly. He set the plate in front of me with care. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, I said, my voice hoarse. He sat across from me and opened the notebook, the thick one this time. I'll be observing you closely today, he said. It's an important evaluation. I forced myself to meet his eyes. "Sasha," I said, "I need you to tell me something." He nodded. "Go ahead. Where is your mother?" He did not answer immediately. He wrote something first. Then he looked up. "She's improving," he said. "It takes longer for some people." "Improving how?" "By confronting the consequences of her behavior." "That does not answer the question." He frowned slightly. "Your tone is defensive," he said. "That's not helpful." I pushed my chair back and stood. "No," I said. "Enough. You do not get to talk to me like this anymore." His eyes widened just a fraction. "That will affect your score," he said. "I do not care about the score," I snapped. "I care about my wife. I care about you." He watched me carefully, like he was observing a specimen under glass. "Caring is not enough," he said. "Consistency matters more." I felt something break then, not explode, just crack, quietly. "Who taught you this?" I asked. He hesitated. "For a long time, it was you and Mom," he said, "but you were inconsistent." "And now?" He looked down at the notebook. "Now I have better teachers." I waited until he went to school. The moment the door closed behind him, I tore the apartment apart. I searched every drawer, every shelf, every folder. I checked the computer history, the router logs, the cloud backups. What I found made my hands shake. Sasha had been corresponding with someone. An online forum, private messages, long threads discussing behavioral conditioning, authority structures, emotional leverage. At first I assumed it was some sick adult manipulating him, but the usernames told a different story. They were parents, dozens of them, all complaining about the same thing: disrespect, disobedience, emotional distance, children who did not listen anymore. And then, one thread stood out. A pinned post titled, "When Reason Fails, Reversing the Power Dynamic." It was written by someone using the name Evaluator. The language was clinical, calm, persuasive. Children respond to systems, not chaos. Authority must be measurable. Love without accountability breeds entitlement. There were step-by-step instructions, scoring systems, consequences, escalation protocols, and testimonials. They changed completely. They're obedient now. They finally understand respect. One comment stopped me cold. "Start small. Make it a game. They will not resist if they think they're in control." My vision blurred. This was not Sasha's idea. This was an experiment. When he came home from school, I was sitting at the table with the notebook open, the thick one. He froze in the doorway. "You went through my things," he said. "Yes," I said, "and now we're going to talk." He set his backpack down slowly. "You violated my boundaries," he said. "I'm your father. That does not excuse harm." "Harm?" I laughed, a sharp, broken sound. "You sent your mother away. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "She chose to fail," he said quietly. I slammed my hand on the table. "She's a human being." He flinched, just slightly. Then he straightened. "Anger," he said. "Intimidation. Loss of control." He reached for the pen. I grabbed his wrist. "No," I said. "This ends now." For the first time, he looked afraid. Not panicked. Afraid in a controlled, assessing way. "You're making a mistake," he said. "The system works." "For who?" I demanded. "For everyone," he said. "Eventually." I released his wrist. "Where is she?" I asked again. He looked at the floor. "At first she stayed with one of the other parents," he said. "Someone from the group." My blood ran cold. "She was not the only one who needed correction," he continued. "They help each other." "Help how?" "They isolate distractions, Remove negative reinforcement. They observe progress. I felt like I was going to vomit. You gave her to strangers, I whispered. They're not strangers, he said. They believe in accountability. I pulled out my phone and dialed the police. Sasha did not stop me. He just watched. Be careful what you say, he said. They'll evaluate you too. The police listened. They did not laugh. That scared me more than anything. By evening, the apartment was full of strangers in uniforms. Questions, notes, radios murmuring quietly. Sasha sat on the couch, hands folded, answering everything politely. Yes, officer. No, officer. I understand. When they took him away, he looked at me. This will lower your score permanently, he said. I did not answer. It took 3 days to find Anna. She was in a house an hour outside the city, along with 4 other adults, all parents, all exhausted, all apologizing to no one in particular. They had not been physically harmed, just corrected, deprived of phones, of choices, of autonomy. Temporary, the group had called it, until improvement. When Anna saw me, she broke down completely. I tried to get a good score, she sobbed. I really tried. I held her and cried too. Sasha was placed in a psychiatric facility. Experts used words like precocious, maladaptive, influenced. They asked us where we thought we'd gone wrong. I wanted to scream the answer. We taught him that love was conditional, that approval had to be earned, that mistakes required punishment. We just never imagined he'd learn the lesson so well. Months passed, we tried to rebuild. Therapy, long talks, apologies that went nowhere. One evening, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Neat handwriting, red ink. Mother, improving. Father, inconsistent. At the bottom, the system persists. Evaluation is ongoing. Anna dropped the letter. Somewhere, in some house, another family was probably laughing over a notebook at their kitchen table, thinking it was just a game. And somewhere else, someone was already deciding what score they deserved. The next letter came a week later. This time it was not just a page. It was a report, typed, stapled, structured with bullet points and margins, like something issued by an institution that expected to be obeyed. At the top, centered, Post-Removal Assessment, Family Unit 14B. Anna stared at it like it might bite. We should burn it, she said. I did not answer. I was already reading. The report did not threaten us. That was the worst part. It evaluated us, our reactions to loss, our compliance with authorities, our emotional volatility post-intervention. It referenced interviews we did not remember giving, neighbors we did not know had spoken, teachers, therapists, a police officer whose name I recognized. At the end was a conclusion. Subject father demonstrates resistance masked as cooperation. Subject mother exhibits remorse-driven compliance. Recommendation, observation, not correction. Yet, Anna's hands were shaking. This is not Sasha, she whispered. This cannot be him. I turned the last page. There was no signature, just a stamp. Evaluation Department. We changed everything after that. We stopped talking about scores, stopped mentioning notebooks or systems. We did not even say Sasha's name out loud unless we were alone. We moved apartments, new locks, new numbers, no forwarding address. For a while, it worked. The silence was unbearable, but it was silent. No letters, no reports, no red ink. I almost convinced myself it was over. Then Anna started correcting herself again. At first it was small. She'd stop mid-sentence and rephrase. No, sorry, that sounded impatient. She'd ask me, late at night, Was I too harsh today? I told her no, every time, but she did not believe me. One evening I found her crying in the bathroom, staring at herself in the mirror. I do not know how to be good without rules, she said. That was when I understood. The system had not taken our son, it had trained us. I quit my job. I could not stand performance reviews anymore. The language alone made my chest tighten. Metrics, improvement plans, behavioral expectations. All of it sounded the same now. Instead, I stayed home, watched the street, learned our neighbors' routines, memorized faces. I started noticing things. A woman across the hall who always spoke to her child in careful, rehearsed sentences. A man in the grocery store apologizing to his daughter like he was afraid of her judgment. A boy on the bus writing in a red notebook. I followed him once. He noticed. He smiled politely and said, "You should keep your distance. Observation without consent affects trust." I went home shaking. The call came on a Tuesday, a blocked number. I almost did not answer. "Hello?" I said. There was a pause, breathing, calm. "Dad," Sasha said. My knees buckled and I had to sit down. "Sasha," I whispered, "where are you?" "I'm safe," he said, "and improving." "Are they hurting you?" "No," he replied. "They're teaching me scale." "Who?" I demanded. "Who are they?" "The ones who evaluate," he said. "The ones you help create." My mouth went dry. "We did not create this," I said. "We're victims." There was a softness in his voice then, almost pity. "That's what everyone says at first." I heard pages turning. "I wanted to call because your observation period is almost complete." Anna appeared in the doorway, eyes wide. I put the phone on speaker. "What happens after?" she asked. A pause. "Promotion," Sasha said. The line went dead. That night we did not sleep. We sat at the table holding hands, waiting for something we could not name. At dawn there was a knock, not loud, not urgent, measured. I opened the door. 3 people stood outside, ordinary, clean, smiling politely. One woman stepped forward. "We're here for the final evaluation," she said. "May we come in?" I wanted to say no. Instead, I stepped aside. They did not search the apartment. They sat. They asked questions. How did we resolve conflict? Did we believe authority should be earned or enforced? What did we think love required? They took notes, nodded, exchanged glances. Anna answered carefully. I answered honestly. That seemed to concern them more. At the end, the woman closed her notebook. "You've both shown significant development," she said, "especially under stress." "What happens now?" Anna asked. The woman smiled. "Now," she said, "you choose." She slid a folder across the table. Inside was a contract. Not legal, not official, philosophical. An agreement to participate, to observe, to report, to help others improve. "No," I said immediately. The woman nodded. That was expected. She turned to Anna. Anna did not answer. She stared at the folder, lips pressed tight. "Anna," I said softly. "No." Her eyes flicked to me, then to the empty bedroom that used to be Sasha's. "I just want it to stop," she said. The woman smiled wider. "It does not stop," she said, "but it becomes meaningful." Anna picked up the pen. I stood so fast the chair fell over. "If you do this," I said, my voice breaking, "we lose him forever." The woman tilted her head. "You already did," she said gently. Anna hesitated. Then she signed. They left with the folder, with Anna's consent, with my silence. That night, Anna slept peacefully for the first time in months. I sat awake staring at the wall. In the morning, she was different. Calmer, focused. There's a family downstairs, she said over coffee. They're struggling. I think I can help. No, I said. You can't. She looked at me the way Sasha used to, concerned, assessing. You're being resistant, she said. That's not healthy. Something inside me snapped. I packed a bag and left. I've been moving ever since, city to city, job to job. I do not stay anywhere long enough to be evaluated. I do not talk to neighbors. I do not form routines. I watch. I listen. And I warn people when I can. Most do not listen. They laugh. They say kids are just kids. They say structure is good. They say accountability matters. Sometimes I see a notebook on a table. Sometimes I see red ink. And sometimes I see a child watching their parents with calm, patient eyes, waiting for them to fail. Last week I found this slipped under my motel door. No envelope, just a page. Father, absent. Status, unresolved. At the bottom, a familiar line. Evaluation is ongoing. I burned it in the sink, but the ashes did not make me feel better. Because somewhere out there, my son is teaching others how to measure love. And somewhere closer than I'd like to believe, someone is already deciding what I'm worth today. I thought running would keep me unscored. I was wrong. It happened in a town so small it barely existed. One main road, one diner, a motel that smelled like bleach and old rain. I chose it because nothing ever happens in places like that. That's what people always think. I was eating breakfast when the waitress set down my plate and smiled too carefully. You passing through? She asked. Yes, I said. She nodded. That's good. Why? She hesitated, just a second too long. People who stay, she said, tend to get noticed. I did not finish my eggs. That evening, in the motel laundry room, I saw a boy about Sasha's age folding towels with military precision. Each one aligned perfectly, each crease sharp. On top of the washing machine lay a notebook, blue cover, red pen. My hands started shaking before I even moved. Do not, the boy said without looking up. I froze. You should not read things without permission, he added calmly. I swallowed. I'm sorry. He glanced at me then. His eyes were wrong, not evil, not cruel. Assessing. Apology noted, he said. Tone acceptable. My heart pounded. Who taught you that? I asked. He smiled faintly. My parents, at first. And now? He shrugged. The system. I backed away slowly. That night, I did not sleep. I sat on the bed fully dressed, waiting. At exactly 3 a.m, my phone buzzed. A message. Unknown sender. You keep avoiding closure. That affects outcomes. Another message followed. We should talk. Then a third. Dad. The meeting place was a school. Closed. Abandoned. Windows boarded up. But the lights were on. I knew it was a mistake the moment I stepped inside. Rows of desks filled the gym. At each desk sat a child. Dozens of them. Quiet, focused, writing. At the front stood Sasha, older now, taller, calmer than I remembered. He looked accomplished. You came, he said. I should not have, I replied. No, he said gently. You should have sooner. I looked around. What is this? Training, he said. Calibration. For what? For the future, he replied. Adults are inefficient, emotion-driven, inconsistent. I laughed weakly. So you fix them? We help them improve, he corrected, or we replace their influence. I stepped closer. And your mother? He hesitated. She's very successful, he said. She evaluates entire districts now. My chest tightened. Does she know what she's doing? He looked at me, genuinely puzzled. She believes in it, he said. Is not that what matters? I shook my head. You do not see it, do you? See what? You're not teaching accountability, I said. You're teaching fear. The room went quiet. Every pen stopped moving. Sasha studied me for a long time. That's an emotional interpretation, he said finally. It lacks data. I took a breath. Then measure this, I said. When did you last feel loved without earning it? His expression faltered, just for a moment. Silence stretched. One of the children raised a hand. Yes, Sasha said automatically. What score does love get? The child asked. Sasha opened his mouth, closed it, looked around the room, at the notebooks, at the red pens, at the children waiting for permission to exist. Something shifted, not dramatically, quietly, dangerously. I need time, Sasha said. The children waited, the system waited, and in that hesitation, I understood the truth. This was not about control. It was about relief. A world where no one had to guess if they were enough, because the answer was written down. I stepped back. You do not need me anymore, I said. He did not argue. I left the building without being stopped. I do not know what happened after. Some say the program collapsed. Others say it adapted. Systems like that always do. As for me, I stopped running. I stopped hiding. I started talking. Not evaluating, not correcting, just listening. Sometimes parents ask me for advice. I tell them one thing. Never turn love into a test, I say, because one day your child might pass. And if you're unlucky, you would not.